So this Museum of Innocence is a museum collecting objects from a love story written by this author, which capture moments from a multi-year relationship, which the protagonist, not the author himself, but the hero of the story has. So these are objects from that story, which he has collected into a museum and very, very lovingly created this unbelievable tribute to that love story. Is the recording on? Yeah. Okay. So, for example, let me turn the camera. So you can kind of see this distance, this big wall panel. The wall panel are all, can you see the wall panel in the ground floor? These are 4,000 something cigarette butts, all cigarette butts from his various meetings over dinner at this girl's parents' house. She smokes a lot. And so each of these cigarettes was smoked by this woman, Fuson, and has touched her hands and touched her lips. And each of them has a little story associated with it. And the guy has collected all 4,000 cigarette butts and put it on this wall, each with a little sentence or a little word about, to remind them about that particular conversation, which was accompanying that particular cigarette being smoked by her. So this way, so obviously I cannot take you to the entire story, but just to give you a little idea, a glimpse. So in the very first chapter of the book, they are making love and her earring falls out from her ear, and she finds out later that she's lost the earring, and he keeps it in his pocket and eventually, I guess, gives it to her. But this is that earring. So like this, so this first box is about a handbag from a shop that he visited, and first met her at this handbag store where she worked. And sorry, this is not a funeral, okay? It's a book. So it's a replica, basically, replica handbag. So anyway, so like this, the whole entire museum is covered with these thousands and thousands of objects and moments which are captured, and so now this, and it's in the house that she lived in. It's a house that she lived in, and eventually this author bought that house and converted the house where she lived into this museum. So like this, it goes on. I mean, it's just each object has been collected with so much care and displayed with so much awareness, so much so much care, so much love. So this must be the apartment where he lived. This is the story set in the 70s. So the point is, it really blurs the line between what is real and what is imagined. So, for example, this is, let's say, this is the bathroom of the apartment in which the hero lived, and this is his toothbrush and his shaving cream, and as you can see, her lipstick is also there on the same shelf as his shaving cream from those days. So, but the the thing is, this is an apartment not of the author, because it's not the author's story, it's a story about his hero. And and so the point is, so did he really use the toothbrush? I mean, there is actually no person. The hero is an imagined character, it's not a real character. So did he really use the toothbrush? Well, he really used the toothbrush in the story and really used this razor in the story, but not really. But the object is real, we can see it. So it really, as I was saying, blurs this line between reality and fiction in a very interesting way. And to so apparently as he wrote this book, he conceived of this museum while he was writing this book. And so it's a simultaneous project. So he wrote the book and simultaneously started working on the museum. So the book was published, I think, in 2005, but this museum came into existence in like 2011. And so these are visitors' comments and visitor books, signatures. And this floor has more of these objects. These are, you can think of this as probably a meal that they shared at one of the hundreds of lovely cafes that fill Istanbul. And nowadays, all we have are the Facebook pictures to or Instagram pics to talk about our lives. But this guy went through the trouble of collecting the actual objects and the actual pictures. So each thing, I mean, I'm sure if you read the book, then we will find more details about what each of these things mean. But the fact that he could also, this must be the dress that she wore while when she met him, was with him, and so on. Various brooches and so temperature. This is from a car from those days, I guess. An old car from those days in the 70s. So a dashboard, an ignition, and a lock. And each object probably has some reference and a meaning as far as the story is concerned. But the beauty is here. Now here's an interesting display with a curtain, probably from a theater that they went to watch a play or a music together, but something like that. More objects from his drawer, probably. And so, but it's a very, look at all this stuff. This is just unbelievable, the amount of attention and attention to detail this author has given to bring to life the story of the love of his life. And so this apparently is a recreation of the room in which a lot of the story happened. These are all the books he's written. So, manuscripts. So sketches from what he thought of designing part of the manuscript. It's written in Turkish. It's the pens that he used to write these manuscripts. There's one particular quote in the very beginning of the book about if you entered paradise in your dreams and you were handed a flower to to give you evidence to show you that you're actually there, and then you wake up and find those flowers in your hand, then what? So something interesting in that thought. So think about that. Anyway, so I just wanted to share this little piece of very, very interesting, off the beaten track. Not many tourists would know about this kind of stuff that is there in Istanbul. You know, they go to the big market and so on, but this is a bit of romance and story by this author, who actually now teaches at Columbia University, where I went to school. So that's one more connection I feel with this guy. His name is Orhan Pamuk, and here's the original book in Turkish. And this is the house she lived in. Okay. All right, cool. So usually we see things in the world, we see objects in the world, and our interpretations create stories based on those objects. That's the usual way in which we operate. So this, if you can think of, is the reverse process. The reverse process, which is you have an imaginary story in your mind, and you go backwards and objectify that story. So it's the reverse of the usual process of interpretation based on things you see. So it's very interesting how you can, so it goes in the other direction. Take imagination and make it into an object. So we really not just blurs the line, but brings into question our own understanding of what reality is and our own lives. So, well, so that's about all I wanted to share with you guys. Anyone has any questions?
So I just want to ask you, Sanjiv, this was not a true love story, is it?
Sorry?
Not a true love story. So he just created a book, an imaginary.
Yeah, I'm not 100% clear on that, whether it's a true story or just a complete, or it's based on a true story. or it's totally imaginary. I don't know. I have to find out. It's not.
Okay. But I'll tell you, he's I'm more fascinated than Shah Jahan.
True.
Shah Jahan to marne ke baad banaya. This
Yeah.
one, to my God, everything he's collected.
Yeah, I don't think he's real. I think
Yeah.
that Kamal Basmashi, who is the protagonist, is just an
Amazing.
imaginary character as far as I can tell. I haven't read the book yet, so I don't know. But he says he passed away on 12th April 2007. So what does that mean? Part of the fiction. Yeah, part of the fictional story. We don't know. But yeah, so you're right. The question is a good one. We don't know. I'll find out. As I read the book, I'll know more. I'll let you know. But isn't it just fascinating? What a concept! What a concept! And he's written a book about that. This is how the basis for museums should be something like this, like So thank you. I know. Thank you. Thank you. So, well, people in the crowd who heard my commentary liked it. So, we're on the right track. So, great. Wonderful. And from a oneness perspective, this kind of is an example of how our fixation with reality, thinking that reality is really real, this whole thing brings that whole idea into question, because reality is nothing but a concept in the mind at the end of the day. And if you can go backwards and take the concept and make it into a physical reality, and physical reality becomes a concept, and you can blur that division, then you can be more established and more convinced about the true nature of reality, which is that it is only consciousness, and it is only, it's all, there is no reality or solidity to reality as such. It's just something we make up. So incredible. I love it. So good. Okay, guys, thank you. We'll talk about this more on our next session. Okay, great.
Thank you.
Meantime, if you can get the book, it's online. You can get the book, read it, and we'll talk more about it.
Yeah, could you post the name of the book, please?
I posted the cover, Museum of Innocence. That's the name of the book also.
Yeah, I like the innocence part.
Great. Thank you. All right. Bye, bye, bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Sanjivji. Truly nice.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Keep sharing.
Bye. But the main thing is it's an intense love story. I mean, it's like over years and years, this guy was in love with this woman and all kinds of tragedy.
And it gets juicier in your
kinds.
mind.
And it's a juicy one too. It's juicy also.
Yeah, what a romance. What a romance.
It's a romance, a juicy romance, but so beautifully done. All right.
My husband doesn't even see me. I'll tell him now.
I know. Okay, thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye. See you.
Bye.
Take care. God bless.
You too.